Rita, what's your thoughts thus far on the allegations of fraud?
Look, I'm not like you. I'm not hopeful that there will be a change in this election result. I'm not saying that there hasn't been dodgy goings on and that they haven't been properly investigated. We saw after the 2016 election, the whole media, mainstream media, pursue these fanciful allegations of a mass Russian collusion and conspiracy, and they ran with it for years. They gave each other awards for investigating it, and it was all based on an absolute nonsense. There's actually a far more evidence of wrongdoing this time around, but nobody really in the media is interested in the US in investigating it in any way. And I just can't see, even if they can prove, OK, there was some wrongdoing in this county and there were these votes not counted in this county, if that's going to be in any way sufficient to see states flip from Biden to Trump. So as soon as this election, I just haven't been at all in the mind frame, James, that will have any success in challenging these and reversing some of these.
Well, yeah, what do they? Absolutely, and that's what's happening. Peter Navarro, a member of the Trump team, served in the Trump administration as the assistant to the president, director of trade and manufacturing policy. He tweeted, "What I'm seeing, what he's seeing: affidavits, testimony, video, photos, court filings. What's wrong and other things he's saying is outright fraud, mishandled ballots, due process fouls, equal protection violations, voting machine hijinks, statistical anomalies." Michael Flynn, another member of the Trump team, came out this week and went much further and said that the army should be called in and there should be a new election. Only then, if there's proper control of the electoral process, can any winning candidate be viewed as legitimate. This is serious stuff.
Yeah, I mean...
Come on, look, James.
Well, yeah, look, come on, man. I got to say that I have to disagree with Michael Flynn on this. I do not think the president should suspend the Constitution. I certainly don't think they should impose martial law until they hold an election that gets a different result. That's just as bad as what is being accused here, and it does look really, really bad. You know, you had on election night, you had when we were in the States, everything was looking like it was going one way, and then they just decided that they were going to stop counting votes in certain key places, you know, where there was a very strong Democrat machine, and then in the middle of the night, suddenly, they found enough votes to get them over the line in these various places. Look, I don't know about these videos. I don't know about all of that. But what I do know is that there are a lot of statistical anomalies at play here. There's Benford's law, which is a statistical law that says that you should not be seeing those sorts of weird distribution patterns as the votes come in. They simply don't make sense statistically. There's a lot of case to be answered here. There's a lot of evidence that in certain cities which produced a huge amount of votes that got certain states over the line. So it's not about the overall vote for Biden. It's about the vote in these specific places that tipped certain states over the line to Biden. That there's stuff that needs to be answered for. And, you know, I do not think Democrats have any right at all to complain about Republicans asking these questions. They set the rules in 2016 about questioning elections, so they cannot complain that in 2020 that gets turned around. What they can do, of course, is through CNN and Facebook and Google and, you know, the search engines, and we'll be talking about that in the second hour in Donkey Vote, is shut down these conversations. And I think that that is really the more depressing thing, because now, you know, assuming Biden gets sworn in next month, you're going to have a situation where tens of millions of people feel like the wrong president got the nod. And Rasmussen poll has shown that even about a third of Democrats also think that there were shenanigans in this election. So people are losing faith rapidly in the election process. The best way to fix that is to investigate it. And it just shocks me that the United States doesn't have something equivalent to our electoral commission here that runs these sorts of things completely above board, and, you know, where there's paper ballots and where there's scrutineers and none of the opportunity for the sorts of really weird behavior we've seen in places like Georgia, Philadelphia, Detroit, and so on.
Well, Rita,
it is so troubling because they don't have like something akin to like the Australian Electoral Commission. They have these. Each state, each city has its own. They're often highly politicised. They don't have a fair umpire that oversees the whole process and can give both sides confidence that it is done right. And James mentioned the polling. There's multiple polls now. There was one in The Economist, one in Politico. Over 80% of Republican voters do not believe this was a fair election. So that should trouble the Biden administration greatly. A big portion of the country does not believe he's a legitimate president.